Do you think making trance kicks is easy? I thought so too, until I spent years trying to nail that signature sound. The problem? Everyone just trying to guess with their ears. But today, I'm revealing the exact scientific method that cracked the code. For years, I couldn't get trance kicks right. They'd either sound too soft or too harsh, too boomy or too thin. I'd mess with pitch curves endlessly, but something was always missing. That perfect balance between the laser-like pitch sweep and the punchy attack. The breakthrough came after I figured out psytrance kicks. Once I understood that different kicks need different pro-MB targets, I could finally approach trance kicks scientifically, but it still took me years to nail the exact parameters. But here's what nobody tells you about trance kicks. They're so boomy from that slow pitch down that they completely break the standard mixing rules. They have massive energy in the 150 to 1800 Hz range, way more than any other kick type. I kept trying to force them to hit my standard plus 6 dB threshold across all bands. Big mistake. They'd sound awful and destroyed my mix. It wasn't until I realized they needed special treatment, just like psytrance taught me, that everything clicked. And just like with techno kicks, I discovered that clean sine waves weren't enough. You need distortion for that signature attack. But how do you distort the attack without destroying those crucial sub-frequencies? So let's make a trance kick at 138 BPM in the key of F. I'm using kick 2 plus Saturn 2 for the multiband distortion, but you can use whatever plugins you have. The key is understanding that trance kicks are essentially techno kicks' bigger, boomier cousin. First, the length. At 138 BPM, 1/8 note equals 217.39 milliseconds. We need every bit of that time for the signature slow pitch down that gives trance kicks their laser-like character. Now for the pitch curve, left endpoint at 20,000 Hz. We need all those frequencies for the attack. Right endpoint at F1 43.65 Hz are fundamental. At the 1024th mark, 1.7 milliseconds, I place a point at G4, 392 Hz. This gives us plenty of high frequencies for our click without being too harsh. And final point at the 164th mark, 27.18 milliseconds. At F3, 174.61 Hz. This controls the final pitch down, creating that boomy laser sweep that defines trance kicks. Now here's where we add some initial character. In kick 2, wave distortion at 24% with 50% mix and drive at 0%. But remember, this isn't mandatory. This is just light seasoning before the real processing. And now, let's set the amplitude curve. First point at 35% volume. Second point at the 2048th mark, 0.85 milliseconds. Jump to 80% volume. Third point at the 1512th mark, 3.4 milliseconds. Drop to 40%. Fourth point at the 132nd mark, 54.35 milliseconds. 42% volume. And final point at 1/8 at 0% volume. Quick tip. I curve the line upward between the 132nd point and the end. This boosts the sub-frequencies slightly, adding presence to the last half of the kick. And now for the breakthrough technique, Saturn 2 with the crossover at A#4, 466.16 Hz, much higher than techno's crossover point, which creates a completely different character for the kick's attack. Distortion type set to broken tube at 50% drive, plus a massive 24 dB boost on the high band to lift those distorted frequencies back up. The 24 dB octave slope ensures clean separation. This higher crossover point is crucial. It's what separates trance from techno. Lower would sound too distorted and techno-ish. This gives us that bright, clean trance attack. So, because the multiband distortion enhanced some boxy frequencies, I used Pro Q3 with a Bell EQ at A#4, 466.16 Hz to cut 9 dB with a Q factor of 0.7 and a 24 dB octave slope. This removes the harshness and cleans the sound while keeping the punch. So now here's what makes Trance kicks special. The two high bands, 1800 to 20,000 Hz, hit the standard plus 6 dB, but the 550 to 1800 Hz band only hits 2 to 4 dB above threshold, much lower than other kicks. The 150 to 550 Hz band hits 4 to 6 dB, and the 0 to 150 Hz band sits at minus 2 dB, just like Trance. That reduced 550 to 1800 Hz target is the secret. It prevents the massive boom from overwhelming your mix. And that's it. A proper trance kick with that signature laser pitch down and bright attack. Boomy, but controlled. Powerful, but not muddy. The multiband method gives you that essential attack character while preserving the clean sub-frequencies. And those adjusted Pro MB targets keep everything balanced despite the massive 550 to 1800 Hz energy. But here's something that took me even longer to figure out. You can nail every kick, every bass, every sound perfectly, and still have tracks that kill the energy completely. There's one mistake that ruins everything, and I made it for 8 straight years. So do you want to know what it is? Because in the next video, I'm revealing why your brakes might be clearing the dance floor, and the stupidly simple fix.